Second edition of Fairgrounds Speedway podcasts, Race Talk America, and we are in the main suite for our second podcast of the 2017 season, and we got some real special guests in the house tonight. A couple of our young guns. Seems to be one of the topics, and one of the greatest things that we have to promote is the up-and-coming talent. That it's this track has generated so many young drivers to becoming champions, and right all the way up to Daytona 500 champions. The track has a very rich history of producing drivers. It's been the training grounds for so many drivers over the years, since I don't know how far back you could go, all the way back to the Charlie Binkley days, the Bob Ruther days, Marty Robbins, Darrell Waltrip, how far you want to go. But right now we have two of the up-and-coming young guns that are on the move and on the rise for the 2017 season. And we're proud to have them in the studio tonight with us to talk about what their careers have been like so far and what they have planned for their careers. To my right is Oliver Cordell, which is 2016 Rookie of the Year in the Legends Division, and Oliver had a pretty nasty ride, I guess you could say, here back a couple weeks ago. And I saw your car the other day. Got it all fixed back up, ready to go again, and I know you're excited about doing that. We're going to talk about what happened at the last race with that, and then talk about what your plans are for the rest of the season and the coming season. To my left is Dylan Jones, probably... now, I don't know, Dylan. I think you might be just a little bit older than Chase Johnson. Not by much, though. Chase has just turned 11 years old this year, and you have a former quarter. You've been running the quarter midget cars, and for a couple of years now. How long have you been running them? 2 or 3 years? 4 years?
4 years.
4 years, and so you got quite a bit of experience in the quarter midget division. But you just turned 12 years old.
12 in April, yes.
In April, you just turned 12. Yes. So now you've been in a couple of different kinds of cars. You've got a Pro 4 car, so you're going to get an opportunity to race against Chase Johnson.
Yes.
And you have ran against him a few times in the quarter midgets, as we were talking earlier. So, I guess it's a big jump getting out of a quarter midget, which is for those of you, and I'm sure that everyone out there knows what a quarter midget is, but for those of you that don't know what a quarter midget is, it's a miniature sprint car.
Yes.
And it has a 4-cylinder motor. Most of them have like Bridges and Stratton engines on them, and highly competitive. I've been out to watch them a time or two, and it's really unbelievable, the talent and the way that these kids drive these cars is just so let's start with you, Dylan, and let's talk about a little bit about what you've done. Now you were telling me a little while ago that you have what they call a heavy Honda class.
Yes.
And you have to be a certain weight. Tell us about that. You have to be 100 pounds and over. Is that what it is?
Yeah, if you're 100 pounds over, you're in the heavy class, and if you're less than 100 pounds, you're in the light class. There's like heavy Honda, heavy World Formula, heavy 160, but then there's light classes of that. But then if like you're under a certain age, you have the junior Honda. Then if you're older than for the junior Honda, go to senior Honda.
Okay. So what grade are you in?
I'm going to 7th.
You're going to the 7th grade this year.
Yes.
And and you've been you've been in these cars for. You made a lot of laps. You ever flipped over anything in one of those?
Oh yes, I used to be known to flip. I don't know why, but
Did they ever nickname you Flipper or something like that?
yes, Tommy Climber used to always come and know me flipping.
Well, and those cars are notorious for flipping, and they have really good roll cages. They make you guys use restraining straps on
yeah,
your
you have
arms or
hands
whatnot.
where it's connected to your seat belt and it goes up to your wrist.
Where
if
your
I
arms can
flip,
fly
yeah.
out of the roll cage and whatnot.
Yes.
So I understand that you folks have gotten rid of all your quarter midget stuff, and all that's behind you. You have your sights set for stock car racing and stock car racing only now. You went to Highland Rim earlier this year, first time. Heard you had some bad luck, got a little sideways. I guess you didn't have a good enough feel for the car yet. Tell us about what happened the first day you went to practice your car.
I was a little nervous because I didn't know what was going to happen or anything, but I started to go out there and I was doing pretty good, better than I thought I would do. But then I was rounding the corners like you do in a quarter midget, but they say you have to diamond the track more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
But I was running off the turns and the car got loose from me. The rear end turned out and then it overcorrected it and hit the wall.
Hit the wall. So you run in real low in a quarter midget car, and then turn it right in the middle and come off and just kind of let it run out. So you were trying to drive a rear engine. I mean a rear wheel drive 3,400 pound Monte Carlo like that, and it just kind of got away from you. So how many laps did you run in it when it got away from you?
I think we had about 3 sessions before I got to loose. Then there at the end I was trying to push it more and get more to the limit, and then it just got
Were you running some pretty decent times in it? Did you get comfortable in it, or?
Yeah, I started to get a little comfortable, and I was running, I think it was like half a second off the pole.
It broke your heart when you wrecked it, didn't it?
Yeah, I was like, what's going to happen? I don't know how Dad's going to react, and I was like, gosh, this is a little different. I never wrecked like a big car before, because usually when you wreck in the quarter midgets, you fix like the sway bar or something.
A lot bigger deal fixing a big car like that, huh?
It's a little part, but then now you have to change the whole front clip.
So you guys went to work on it, got it fixed back, got it out here, and you've gotten some practice in it. You ran your first race, the last race, and got out there and was able to finish the race. Got some good experience, finished the race with all 4 wheels and all 4 fenders on it, and that's an accomplishment for the first time on this track in that division. So I'd say you did pretty well on that. Now, your Uncle John and some more people have pitched in, and they went and bought you a really super nice Pro 4 car, which is the same kind of car that Chase is driving, and you haven't got to practice that car any yet.
No.
Tomorrow you're going to sit down in that car for the first time.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited because I just never drove it before or anything, and it's a 5-speed, so I never drove a race car like that before.
Never drove a clutch, have you?
Well, I've been practicing.
Okay. How many times have you killed the motor?
I don't know, about 5
Okay.
times.
So you're going to get in a Pro 4 car, and I have heard that I haven't had an opportunity to watch it, but I heard that Tanner Arms got in your car and turned some really, really impressive times. And as a matter of fact, John Burns told me that Tanner tried to talk him into letting him drive the car the last race. He thought that he might could win with it, but I think Jeremy Burns wound up driving the car and got a top 3 out of it. Did he
Yes,
not, or
yes.
something like that? So.
Close.
So tomorrow you make your debut. You're pretty excited about that. Go home tonight, get a good night's sleep. You guys got your car all loaded up and ready to go?
Yes, yeah, we're looking forward to it.
So what's your goal for tomorrow when you come here? You got somebody talking to you on the radio?
I think Uncle John's going to be talking to me to when I left the gas, how much brake I put into it, because I think it's a little different than the pure stock. But I think I'll do pretty
Probably
good.
a lot different than the pure stock.
Yeah.
It's going to have a lot better grip in it. It's going to steer a lot quicker. It they say, and this is a fact, and Oliver, you may not know this, but I'm going to tell you this too. the lighter the car is, the easier it is to drive. The heavier the car is, the harder it is to drive. So when you guys get in these light cars like this, and of course, Oliver, your car weighs what? 1,400 pounds is all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and it's got a lot of torque and a lot of motor, and we're going to get to you and talk about that in here just in a minute. But these Pro 4 cars, we're gaining a lot of momentum. Our car count's picking up on that really well, and it's getting to be competitive. So you're going to come tomorrow, and I think that Uncle John got you in my ride car and took you around the quarter mile track. Did he teach you anything when he took you around in it? Or?
Well, yeah, I think I taught me how you can drive it in there to not be scared of what's going to turn, because when I turned it at the rim, it's like still in the back of my head that it's going to like turn or something. But
exactly.
he told me, and
well, at the rim, you can take a car in a whole lot harder.
Yeah.
You can just really force it down in a corner and just throw the wheel in it and stand right back in the gas, lay it on the carpet, let it roll out toward the wall. This track is an extremely hard track to drive, and I've told people for years and years and years, I don't like this track. This is what I learned. This is a track I learned to drive on. I cut my teeth on this track. And matter of fact, in my 43-year career, this track was the last track that I actually won a race on. We started a Thursday night series with the pro late models, and Tommy Clymer and I, and James Clymer, and John Earhart, and a few more. Nicholas Formosa. We got out here and we started a little division out here, and we were really doing good. But the last race before I retired was on that track. Never did like this track because that you have to let off. It's so hard to hit your marks. And Oliver, you can relate to that. You've been racing on this track for a couple of years. You're the rookie from last year in your division. If you just run in a car length too deep, you slide up a half a lane. That lets that guy get his nose under you. You've got to hit your marks, and you've got to get a rhythm going every time. It's so hard to drive because it's so easy to overdrive. If you just go in a little bit too hard, you slide up and there's nothing you can do. You might as well just let out of the gas, because once you get out too high, you start trying to turn. It's not going to do anything but slide out to the wall. So you've got to maintain those marks. You don't have a lot of corner speed here, but you have to keep it on the bottom. If you don't keep it on the bottom, you open up that bottom groove and somebody's going to come in. Extremely hard to pass on this track without rubbing fenders and bumping people, and I think that's a perfect case of what happened over here with Oliver the last race. So we're going to be watching you tomorrow and clocking you, and good luck, with all that and everything. And we're going to talk more during the podcast about how you have your sights set. And as a matter of fact, you won the 2016 100 and over class, the heavy Honda. You were the champion for that last year, were you not?
It's pretty exciting. I always had my goal set for that championship. So
how does it feel to be a champion just right off the bat like that? Anybody call you champ?
Yeah, a lot did, but then also a lot of people thought we were cheating. But it was a lot of too much drama for that little car.
I gotta ask you, Dylan, do you ever try to help other kids that are a little younger than you, that are just starting out, and you being a champion? Do you ever give them any advice or a piece of mind or anything like that? Do you have an interest in that, or do you? A lot of guys just don't pay attention to their competitors. Do you clock your competitors? Do you watch your competitors?
Yeah, we've always watched them, but usually I was always friends with my competitors a little bit, but I never knew everybody else in the other divisions. But I didn't want to give them any hints or anything because they're my competitors.
Yeah, and I know when we first when your dad and your uncles first sent your resume in, the insurance company denied you because you didn't have that great of a resume. You didn't have any experience. We redid that. We went down to the 4-cylinder class and whatnot. We got you some more seat time, beat that resume up a little bit, and the insurance company approved you. And now you're set on go to. You're actually approved to run the the super stock division, or you could probably run not a super stock, pure stock, excuse me, but you could probably run a super stock, even a sportsman car if you wanted to. So you got plans of running the pure stock car at the Highland Rim for this year, and then you're going to run the 4-cylinder division here, right?
That's the plan, yes.
So you're going to be pretty busy this year, huh?
Yeah. I think we were going to practice Saturday and go to the race this weekend at the Rim.
Do you do you work on your car? You interested in?
They actually, a couple of weeks ago, we changed the brake rotors, and Uncle Scotty, he helped me and taught me how to put them on.
So you have a family history, just like Oliver has. Oliver's entire family has been involved in stock car racing forever, and he's, I think, the third, maybe fourth generation driver in his family. And we're going to get to him in a minute, but you have I don't know really what Donnie Kaler is to you, but he is your grandmother's sister, is he not? Is that, let's see, legendary Donnie Kaler, that drove number 7 here back in the 60s and 70s. He is your, I guess, your grandmother's brother, I think.
Yes.
So your family, John Burns is kin to you, and then of course Scotty Jones is your uncle, and your dad Corey. You guys have been around the racetrack forever. You've been coming out here since you were born, have you not?
Yeah, it's kind of how it started, because Dad came here as a kid to watch Uncle John and come up here, so he wanted me to come and see all of the racing. So I've always been close to it and always wanted to do it.
Do you have a special passion for the sport of stock car racing, would you say?
Yes.
Where's your favorite, who's your favorite driver?
Like NASCAR or like...
Oh, yeah, NASCAR. Well, who's your favorite driver out here in the pros?
Kind of like Willie Allen.
Willie Allen's a good one. What about NASCAR?
Casey Kane.
Casey
My
Kane.
dad always liked him when he was kind of the rookie. We've always liked him since.
He's a pretty classy driver. So let's get over here to Oliver Cordell and talk to Oliver. Oliver, you took a wild ride, scared us all to death the last race. And so you jumped out there. You started on the front row, jumped out there, and last year you pulled the Rookie of the Year off. That was a great accomplishment for your first year, and it had to make you feel good. You finished third in the points last year?
Yes, sir.
So you left the awards banquet with 2 really nice gifts, and took the hardware home, and now you've jumped out. You showed a lot of muscle, showed a lot of improvements. As a matter of fact, if I had to give an award for the most improved driver, right now I would probably give it to you, because you showed a lot of improvement. You jumped out there, you led 9 or 10 laps in the last race, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're up, you're over, you're on your top, you're bouncing, you're up and over. How many times you flipped? 2.5 times, I think it was.
Yes, sir.
So I got to ask you, what were you thinking when you were flying through there on your top? Were you thinking anything, or were you just holding on, or what?
Holding on. It happened so fast, I didn't really have time to think about anything.
Did it scare you?
For like a split second.
Yeah. And then everybody got to you. You were okay, and they turned the car back over, and probably did more damage to it turning it back over. And that was a brand new car, also, was
Yes,
it
sir.
not? How bad did it hurt it?
It wasn't too bad, not as bad as we thought. It's at my uncle's house, Bernie Cordell. He got it back together, and we're ready for this upcoming race.
Yeah, I saw it. I was up at Dustin Hamlet's sign shop picking up some decals for the track trucks, and I saw it the other day, and look brand new again. You know, you can still see some of the places where it hit and slid and whatnot, but it looked great from the stands and looked great from the pit. So you know, a lot of guys say, Oliver, when something like that happens, it's best to jump right back in the car. And your mom told me a little while before the show, she said he wanted to go on back out there and compete, and if you could have had, I know you would have had, but I gotta take my hat off to you, because you got out of the car, you looked like you were really frustrated, and you might want to get out and be a little ticked off at somebody, and I walked over there and I said, get out, be a gentleman, go over there and give a good interview, and that's what you did. And I think that a lot of people respect you more for, doing that, not being mad, taking it as something that happens, and going on about your business. I know you hated for that to happen. It scared us all to death. I think it scared your mom more than it did anybody.
Yes, sir.
She got a bad toe, or she got a splinter up in her toe, and you wouldn't have known she had anything wrong with her foot when she came out there. She got out there pretty quick. So let's talk about what your sights are set for. And by the way, you're 13. You just you just turned 13 in August, I think. Okay. So you're just a teenager by a few months. What's it like for I started racing when I was 14, and you guys both started like 2 or 3 years prior to me, and I didn't get to race a whole lot when I was 14, but I did get to feel the power, and I knew what it was like and everything. Of course, you didn't have the technology and the suspension and whatnot in those days that you have now, but you feel like you're a little advanced on your on being a kid. I mean, most kids don't get to do what you're doing. Do other kids look up to you for what you're doing and whatnot?
I guess so. I don't really know.
And you guys have a deal that you do. You did it last year, and you're going to do it this next race on July 8th. You got these little deals right here that are pretty popular right here, and everybody's playing with them all the time. You guys are going to be out here handing these out. Last year, you folks gave away T-shirts and had a great crowd. You got a good fan base and everything. So tell me, what are your goals? What are your dreams? If you could do anything you wanted to for the next 10 years, what are your goals here?
Well,
you want to drive a pro car? You want to go to a pure stock car? You want to go to a sportsman car? You want to go to start running trucks? You want to start running pros? What do you want to do?
we're probably going to run Legends a couple more years, and I'm hoping to either run a super stock or a pro truck on the 5/8 mile.
Would you jump in a pro truck right now if you had a chance?
If I could, I would.
Think you do okay?
Maybe.
I think you would, because what you guys don't really know is when you get on the big track, you have a whole lot more reaction time. It's actually a lot easier to drive on the 5/8. Although it's a lot bigger track, you got a lot more speed. But you also have a lot more room. You have a lot more reaction time. It's kind of like getting off of a little one-lane alley or a real tight, little parking lot or whatnot, trying to get around in it, and then getting out on a big interstate, that's 4 lanes wide. You have a lot more room, a lot more reaction time. You have a lot more time to think. You can see a lot better. You can dodge wrecks. You can basically use the track to do whatever you want to do. If you got a loose car, you can run up high. If you got a tight car, you can run down low and put your left front wheel on the flat and make it turn the car and whatnot. But you look at Chandler Smith. Chandler came down here shortly after he had just turned 12 years old. He jumped in a pro car. He ran a super car at over in the Carolinas, I think over at Kenley and a few tracks like that. He actually had a super race one, and then he came down here, and I couldn't believe him. It's kind of like Jeff Burton's son when he first came down here, Harrison. Jeff was talking to me about Harrison and whatnot, and I said, well, where is Harrison? He said, well, that's him. I said, that's Harrison? Just a little bitty, Chandler's the same way. So I'm just literally blown away and impressed with the talent that you guys have at the younger ages. I mean, it's here I am. I'm an old man. My career's behind me. I raced here for 43 years, and now I'm steering the ship here at the Speedway. And you guys are just impressed me so much to be as young as you are, to get in the cars. One part of me is I fear for you guys, getting out there, but then you guys get out there and you do a lot better job than a lot of the grown men do out here. So are you folks aware of the danger and the things that can happen out there? Do you ever think about that?
Yes, sir.
And so you guys just accept that, like, well, I know I might go out there and get hurt, or I might go out there and get hit in the door and get knocked out. I might get my leg broke or my arm broke or something. Hopefully that's not going to happen. We have a very, very, very strict safety inspection here. We look at all you folks' cars, and that's one reason why the insurance company won't just accept anybody to go out there and race. You have to have some history and some experience behind you, so, but you guys are the key things to promote here at the Speedway. A lot of people want to come out and see you young guns. So do you miss your childhood? Do you miss doing things that the normal 11, 12, 13-year-old kid would do? I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to ask you, but like I say, part of me is just so impressed at what you guys do, and then the other part of me is like, man, I hope nothing happens. I don't know how I could race against you guys if I was racing against y'all. Do you race against somebody just like you want them to race against you? I mean, you don't cut them any slack. You don't want anybody cutting you any slack. You don't want anybody giving you anything. Yet you earn your respect on the track just like everyone else does. If somebody comes up and rubs on you a little bit, puts a tire mark on you going in the corner, you try to put it back to them, or you take it as a learning experience, or what do you do? What do you do, Oliver? You're a rookie last year, so you got a lot more laps under your belt than Dylan's got over here. What do you do when somebody comes up there and rubs up against you? You try to give it back to them, or you just take it as short track racing and go on try to pick that position up?
Taking it the first couple times, I take it as a learning experience, but if they keep doing it,
you give it back to them.
Yes, sir.
Racing eye for an eye, huh? That's the way I think. That's the way I think everybody should race, an eye for an eye, and racing is rubbing and short track, and it's tight and everything, and we all know where the line's at when we get out there. You guys will learn where the line's at when you get up behind somebody and you're going in a corner, and all you got to do is take it in there another car length deeper. You got a chance to take him out. You take him out, or you just. Because if you do, you're going to the rear for the spin out rule, and then you got to worry about, you got to race that guy for the rest of the year. So you guys are still in your learning stages and everything, but you have to be aggressive. You have to learn your respect when you're out there racing. How you feel about that?
Well, I think like the rubbing and stuff you're talking about, I think that's gonna happen because it's racing, and I think like on different divisions you're gonna rub more than you would in a different division, but I think if it comes down to like the last lap for the lead or something, I think you would give it to him a little bit more than you would.
You get intimidated by some of the old, more experienced guys that will not going to give you any room, and if you get up beside them, they might cut you off a little bit, and then they might try to turn you a little sideways. Do you get intimidated over those guys, or do you just not even think about them?
I don't really think about it, but I think that they would try to take advantage of me since I'm younger and I don't have more experience, but I try my best not to let them get to me or anything like that.
I understand. What do you think about that? You get intimidated by the guys that some of the guys are not are a little bit more over aggressive. Some of the guys will race you clean. Some of the guys won't race you clean. We won't call any names or anything, but we do have a bump and spin rule, and you've been involved in some spins and some crashes and sent to the rear, and whatnot. And you just said you raced an eye for an eye, but do you get intimidated by the older guys?
I think getting intimidated just comes with experience. Like, if you're racing for the first time, I would be intimidated, but second or third year, I wouldn't get that much intimidated.
You guys get nervous before the race starts?
A little bit.
Yeah.
So when does that go away? Does it go away when the green flag falls out? I can remember the first race I ever ran. I had a 57 Chevrolet, and it was on the quarter-mile track. And I got in it in the pits, and I was trying to push in on the clutch, and I was just, my leg was shaking so bad I couldn't hardly push the clutch in, and I getting the shipper all hung up and everything, and I was just a nervous wreck. All this stuff was going through my mind, and I pulled out there and I lined up, and I look over there, and there's Bill Stillings, and there's Sonny Upchurch, and there's Fat Boy Ryman, and Pete Lau, and these guys were so rough you could strike a match in the palm of their hand, and you knew they weren't going to give you anything. They weren't going to give you any change whatsoever. But as soon as the green flag came out, it all went away, and all you focused on was just getting around there as fast as you can, as smooth as you can, and I forgot a lot of the things that actually happened my first race. A lot of things happened you don't even remember. That somebody passed me, I didn't even remember him passing me. So we have a viewer that's asked us a question, and Dennis Ray just joined the show and asked, do you come from a racing family? And to answer your question, Dennis, yes, I do. I come from very much a racing family. My dad was one of the early pioneers that started racing in Middle Tennessee, raced at the Legion Bowl and the Old Hickory Speedway, and then when they and raced here when this was a 1 mile dirt track, and then when they turned it into a asphalt track and paved it for the first time in 1958. I was 5 years old, and I came here to watch my dad race when I was 5 years old in 1958. So my furthest memories of my childhood come from being here when I was 5 years old. So I've helped a lot of people. I helped people like Bobby Hamilton Sr. start his career. I helped won championships with Chad Chaffin, with Joe Buford, helped Casey Atwood get his start. Bobby Hamilton Sr., my brother Nicky Formosa, my nephew Nicholas Formosa. I worked as a crew member for a lot of different teams, and we won a lot of championships and a lot of races, and sports stock car racing has been very good to my family and myself. So I'm one of the folks that retired from racing in 2009, took Speedway over in 2010, and to me this is like home. So I'm the promoter here at the Speedway now, and I do very much come from a family of racing. We appreciate your questions, and if anyone out there has questions, you can ask us online, and we'll try to answer them as the podcast goes along. We appreciate everyone watching. We want to remind everybody that our next race is July the 8th. $10 general admission. Senior and military are $8. Kids 5 and under are always free. The grandstand's open at 2 o'clock. The racing starts at 4:30. Happy hour is on our party deck over here from 3:30 to 4:30, and we'll have free bouncy houses for all the children, free ice cream, compliments of Purity Dairies. For the first 1,000 kids that get here, we're going to give you a free ice cream sandwich. We're going to have a double money drop, being that we didn't get to have our money drop our last race because it was a Tuesday night race. We were trying to hurry up and get our show through. We cut our intermission very short, so a lot of things that we normally did on a past race, we did not do our money drop because we were trying to hurry up and get through in courtesy of the neighbors. So we're going to double that money drop. We normally drop about $500 to $600 in $1 bills. This July the 8th race, it promise you, is one you won't want to miss, because I'm gonna make it rain dollar bills. We're gonna drop over $1,000 off of the roof of the grandstands, and if you really want to see it rain money, be here on July the 8th on intermission. We're also going to have around 15 of our previous track champions, from Walter Wallace to Ricky Cruz, Wade Allen Buttrey. I don't have a list of all the ones that are going to be here, but there's going to be a lot of our past champions are going to be here. A lot of our past champions are here every Saturday night anyway. But we're going to have a lot of old cars are going to be here. We're going to have some coupes here. James Clymer is going to have his 55 Chevrolet here. We're going to have a lot of the previous past cars. Darrell Waltrip's going to be here, one of our most famous drivers that started his career here, right here at the legendary Fairgrounds Speedways, is going to be on hand. And we're trying to talk DW into giving a ride in a ride car and giving the proceeds of that to the Children's Hospital or St. Jude's, whatever the charity organization is. So that's something you won't want to miss. He hasn't committed on doing that, but he has committed to be here. So we're hoping DW will jump in the ride car and give somebody a ride. I don't know how long it's been since he's been in a car, but he sure won a lot of races on this track. So you won't want to miss that. And then on our next race on July the 22nd, it's going to be ladies' night. All ladies get in half price, $5. We will still have the ice cream. We'll have the bouncy houses, the money drop. We'll give away the big screen TV. All of the things that we do here to bring family fun at an affordable price. We'll sell you the whole ticket, but you're only going to need a piece of it because you're going to be right on the edge of your seat. You're going to see stock car racing, over 500 laps of stock car racing at its best. I guarantee it, right here at the legendary Fairgrounds Speedways. So everybody come on out and watch these young guns and watch them go up against the people that are more famous and big names, and you'd be surprised at what these 11, 12, 13-year-old kids, and we got more than these two that are sitting here. We have them that run the Pro Late Model Division. We have them that run the Pro 4. We've got Chase Johnson that's really shown a lot of muscle and has led a bunch of races this year and whatnot. So we are. Dennis is asking us another question. Dennis Ray again. Do the two young men have any desire to go up to NASCAR in the future? I'll let you answer that first.
I do. I hope to get to NASCAR. That'll be a lifelong dream.
That's where the money's at, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So what about you, Dylan? Do you have desire to go to Winston Cup, NASCAR Cup?
I think that would be awesome. It would be a dream, but I think it takes a lot of money to get there from the beginning, because I think you need to start from the ARCA up to like the truck series, but you gotta have a big sponsor, enough money to get there though.
And there is a lot of young names that are coming up to the top-notch cars in NASCAR, and I think a lot of it is a lot of these guys have deep pockets or big sponsors behind them, and they go in there and they offer a team a lot of money, but you got to have the talent to go with that. So there are a lot of cases where somebody will just notice, some young talent coming up, and you got to have more than just the ability to drive a race car. You got to know how to talk. You got to be well respected. You have to you have to on and off the racetrack is as important as it is on the racetrack. The duty that you perform on the track is just a small part of what sponsors and potential people that can help you get to your goal look at. You have to be you have to be have all the chemistry. You have to have the looks. You have to be able to talk. You have to be well respected. You have to treat people and working with the fans and whatnot. There's a lot of different chemistries involved in that. So let's get back over here to Oliver and tell us a little bit about each year you guys come to the Speedway. Your mom helps you with this, and your dad, and you guys come down here. And last year you folks came to the Speedway, and I guess you kind of have like a fan club, and you guys gave away T-shirts, and you're always giving away a little something, and you got these little gizmos right here that you're going to give out to, and that's a pretty neat little toy there that I guess you could say it, or a stress reliever that a lot of people, I see a lot of kids using these. And so how many of those you guys are going to give out? You folks are going to be here July the 8th to give those out, huh?
Mm-hmm. We have 175 that we're going to give out to the first 175 kids that come. It's got a picture of the car on one side and our main sponsor on the other, General Contractors. So yeah, I guess that's about it.
And you guys will be up here on the concourse doing that July the 8th, right? In between
Yes,
races and an intermission. So everyone come on up and come on up and get your handouts from Oliver, and meet Oliver, and get an autograph card or whatever. Get to know these young guns right here. So we got a couple more people that have sent some emails in on the show here. Robert Forsythe, who is the biggest influence in racing? The boys, who's your biggest influence in racing? Who influences you the most for your racing?
Probably my dad and granddad.
Okay, and you have your family has a gigantic history of being competitive here. Your uncle races, and he'll drive anything you let him in, and does a great job. He runs a super street and pure stock, and I've seen him in super trucks, and a lot of talent, just waiting for a good opportunity. And I know it's just a big family deal for you guys. All of your uncles, Carol Cordell, your grandfather, he's always down here. He loves this place and loves the sport and loves you, and so you've got a lot of family support that's helping you along, and there's a whole bunch of you guys, and you guys have been around for a long time. So just a real down to earth family that loves the facility, loves the sport, and eats, sleeps, and breathes the sport of stock car racing. And same here on Dylan's family right here. And we got a question from Debbie Kaler, and she wants to ask Dylan, are you ready for your second race?
Well, the second one's always going to be easier than the first one, because the first one, you've never been in like a big car like that before. You never know what's going to happen, because you've never really been in that car before. In fact, well, you've always practiced, but just never done it before, so it's always different.
So when you get out there and practice, do you try to pick a mark up on the track when you're going down the straightaway? You watch, try to find a mark on the wall to where you know where to let out every time. I don't think you've picked up the rhythm yet of your peak of your RPM of your car or whatnot. I'm sure, Oliver, that you have as many laps as you have in your Legends car, but you could almost close your eyes and know about when to let off from knowing where the peak is. But I got to ask you, do you try to find a mark on the track somewhere, or are you just taking it all in right now?
I kind of like you guess with the RPMs, you kind of listen to the car and let off, but it's kind of hard to look around for the wall because the turn comes up really quick, and if I probably looked away somewhere, I'd probably be somewhere I don't want to be.
I hear you.
It's really like distracting really bad.
I got it. So what's the hardest thing for you right now? What do you feel like is the hardest thing out of everything you're doing, getting in your car, getting to the track, going out there and racing? What's the hardest part about what you're doing right now?
I guess the track. The track was a lot to learn, and it's a lot different than the quarter midgets. And it's not as banked because I got used to the rim. It was banked and it was a lot easier.
Right.
But then you come here, it's not banked. It's
Have
a
you
lot
ran
harder.
in? Have you ran in too far and slid up the track a lane or two yet?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Yeah, and it'll just reach out and grab you and pull you right over there too, won't it?
It's not the best feeling. But
Yeah. So I guess putting it all together, picking up your marks and whatnot, that's the practice. The more you practice, the better you're going to get, so hopefully you'll pick your marks up and everything. I tell you what, Richard Petty told me years and years ago, and this is the honest to God truth. I was racing on a quarter-mile track, and the first race car I ever had was the 057 Chevrolet, and a lot of you folks have heard me say this before. I was up underneath my car tightening the U-bolts on the drive shaft, and I smelled cigar smoke. In the 70s, Richard Petty got this thing where he used to smoke a cigar, and I smelled cigar smoke. And I turned my head, and Richard Petty himself was laying up underneath my car, and he was looking up at what I was doing. He was smoking on a cigar. And he said, if a man can race and win on this track right here, he can race and win on any track of America. And I thought that was so cool because here I was, first year that I was actually competing, my first car, and somebody like Richard Petty just laid down out of nowhere, just killing time, kicking tires, got up underneath my car, out of all the cars that were here, and just looked up, and that's just what kind of character he was. And that's always stuck with me, and that's true. This track right here, this quarter-mile track, is one of the most hardest tracks in America to drive on because it's so easy, like we said at the first of the podcast, overdrive. And if you ever go in there a little bit too hard, you'll push up and somebody will get in under you. Once somebody gets in under you, unless you're some kind of a magician, you can't race on the outside very long. Now, there are a handful of guys that can race on the outside on this track and whatnot, and it's very hard to do. And we have got some guys that can do that, especially with the sportsman cars and the super street cars, because they have the big track car takeoff now and they have more grip. So you're seeing a lot of side-by-side racing inside and outside, and it's really fun on that track because you run out of lane and you run out of time real quick. So how difficult is it to you guys going to school? And this was my next question. Going to school, concentrating. I can remember when I was in school, I started having problems when I was in high school because I wanted to be out there at the race track. I wanted to be working on my race car. How difficult is to juggle racing, school, working on the car, missing stuff that other kids are doing, like birthdays and just school activities and stuff. Do you guys miss that, or do you even think about it, or are you just 100% focused on your racing and what you're doing, or what? You answer that first.
Well, I guess not really, because I guess my school lets out at like 3, so like I have enough time, or like to go to the garage and work on the car. But I don't think there's really that much to work on my car, but I guess if we wreck it, it's a different story. But I guess like there's a race every month, and you have enough time to work on it and do the things you need to. But I also do football at school, but it really doesn't conflict with racing that much.
People come up to you and like, wow, man, you're a race car driver. What's it like driving a race car? You get a lot of people coming up to you asking you how cool it is to race when you're in school and whatnot.
Well, yeah, not that many people know about it, but I think all of them that do know it, I don't think they know how competitive it is. They just think that you're going in circles.
They'll know about it before long, won't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So what about you, Oliver? How about missing school activities and other things that you do being a kid? You know, just having to put full focus on what you're doing. You feel like you're leaving any of your childhood behind you, or do you just have 100% focus on where you want to be and what you're doing?
Well, I'm not that big of a fan of school, so when I'm doing homework every day, it's like, all right, let's get this done so we can go work on the race car.
Yeah. Kind of helps increase your academic level where you can get out here and get done what you need to get done at the track, you know. So you know, a lot of talent sitting here at this table, and both of these young men are not only good race car drivers, but they're good young men. They're good kids that enjoy coming out here and enjoy what they're doing. But they're good kids on and off of the racetrack. In my book, getting involved in racing helps every young man or young girl stay focused. It keeps them out of trouble. It keeps them off of the street. It occupies their mind. It gives them something that sets their sights to do. I feel like it's a good thing all the way around, you know, that you get involved with this and you're around your family and you're around your friends and you know, you're doing something that you love to do and you've got your sights set on climbing the ladder and getting better, you know. So I've always thought that it helps. You know, I've had people tell me many times, man, if I didn't have my racing, ain't no telling what would have happened to me. You know, there's no telling where I would have wound up. You know, so I think it's a good thing. Once again, our next race is Throwback Past Champions Night, right here at the legendary Fairgrounds Speedway, July the 8th. You can wear an old track shirt or a past champion shirt, and you get $2 off your general admission ticket. It'll be over 500 laps of racing on July the 8th. You can check us out on our on the web at www.fairgroundspeedways Nashville. You can also watch our podcast. It'll be running continuously on YouTube, and you can check it out on our Facebook page. You can call us at the Speedway at 615-254-1986, or you can go to the website at www.fairgroundspeedwaynashville for any scheduling information, ticket information, or anything you need to know about rules or scheduling or times or whatever. The pit gate opens on July the 7th. On Friday, we have open practice. Pit gate opens at 2 p.m. Practice starts at 3. And then we'll go all the way to 8 o'clock. We'll have the from 7:30 to 8:30. We'll have Pro Late Model and Super Truck only. What we're going to do, we're changing our scheduling around. We're going to do like 30 minutes at a time. Quarter mile, then 5/8. Quarter mile, then 5/8. All that'll start at 3 o'clock. You'll start with the quarter mile practice, and then at 3:30 we'll go to the Pro Late Miles and the Super Trucks, vice versa, all the way down to 8 o'clock. So that the tire barn will close at 8 o'clock on July the 7th. Everyone's got to be out of the track, be gone by 9 o'clock, and then we will come in on Saturday, July the 8th. Pit gate opens at 8:30. The tech opens at 9. Mandatory drivers meeting at 11. At 11 to 12, we have quarter mile tech only. 11:30 to 12, 5/8 mile practice, and then we'll go on down into lunch break at 1 o'clock. 1:30, super truck tires will be released at 12:45 to 1:15. Pro late model tires will be released at 1:15 to 2:15. Chapel service with Pastor Joe Nims, our favorite chapel pastor here at the Speedway, will begin at 1:45, 2 o'clock. Mandatory drivers meeting, 2 o'clock. Grandstands open, 2:30 qualifying begins. 4:15 pro late models ceremonies, legend cars must be lined up for qualifying. 4:30 first green flag drops. Intermission is going to be a blast at on July the 8th. We're going to have all the past champions on stage. Don't miss it. Free ice cream, bouncy houses, double money drop. You're going to get to see it all here. And then don't remember, the next weekend on July the 22nd, when we come back, will be ladies' night. $5 for the ladies, $5 general admission for that. And then the following race, which will be in August, will be back to school night. $5 for everybody. Free school supplies for the whole family. So the next 3 races we got coming up here at the Fairgrounds Speedways are going to be really, really big races. We just got to pray that we get some good weather. That's all we need. We're going to have a lot of TV commercials on Saturday, Sunday on Channel 4. Watch our TV commercials at the Firecracker 400 race at Daytona. And I guess that just about winds us up. We just got a few minutes left. Oliver, you want to say anything about your sponsors or anything real quick?
Yeah, I'd like to thank General Contractors, Sladen Door and Hardware, Durden Architecture, and Devo Motorsports.
And we're going to be anxious to see you back in that car. Keep all 4 wheels on the ground this time.
Hopefully.
Doing a great job. Dylan, got anything you want to say for any of your sponsors? Any people help you?
Well, I'd like to thank Uncle John and Tommy Clymer. They've helped out a lot, even from Tommy's helped out from the quarter midgets and everything. And we have a sponsor like Paint Medic. They have helped a little bit. And I think especially Mom and Dad and just family members that have really helped.
Great. Fantastic. Good luck to you tomorrow in your practice. We'll see both of you guys on July 8th. For now, that's all we got. Thanks for watching. See everybody next week right here at the Fairgrounds Speedways podcast show. Appreciate everybody for being here.